Where's my back?
Here we go! It's time to do this once again! It's time to dim the lights and let the feedback build! 3 clicks and sticks! And we're ready to explode! We sing along!
This content is for informational and educational purposes only. You should not construe any such information or other material as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. Nothing contained here constitutes a solicitation, recommendation, endorsement, or offer to buy or sell any securities or other financial instruments whatsoever by Draper Goren Blockchain, aka DGB, the presenter, or other associated parties for the content being provided. Please do your own due diligence and seek proper counsel.
Boom.
Cool. Good morning.
What's happening? Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
I think John and maybe Coop will be joining us too, so that's pretty radical.
Yeah, we hit a full-time high this week, except now we're back.
Fargo or Pauculus?
Oh, John Fargo this time. We need to have Pauculus on soon. Talking about AI before we went live, we should get Pauculus on here. But how are you guys doing?
I'm doing really well.
Short stable coins.
Oh, he's joking, folks.
No. I need more stable coins.
Okay.
So I wrote an article on this as to what was the name of the article? Hold on, let me bring it up. So every once in a while I go do kind of an assessment, and ChatGPT is great for some of this these days. And it looks like John has entered the room. I did this assessment in my portfolio, right? And I'm probably a little heavy on the Bitcoin side, which is not a bad thing. But it was telling me that I'm probably short dollars, and I probably am.
Dollars.
Well, no, but it got me thinking. Because obviously there's a Genius Act, right? And if you go through and you look at all the different things that are happening, you can absolutely, in my opinion, see that we're on a road path to go into a stable coin economy where our future dollar turns to stable coins. And I wrote an article called The Hard Money Reset, How Tokenized Treasuries and Stable Coins Redefine Cash. And I literally think that's the direction that we are going. And I guess fortunately for boomers, it benefits them. They enjoyed the years of all this asset appreciation from currency debasement. And if we
break it down more than just I need more stable coins.
Well, no, but the thing is so we've been in decades of asset inflation through currency debasement, and at the point where these boomers are going to start retiring, well, when you retire, you go on to fixed income, right? And so when you're on a fixed income, heavy inflation, hyperinflation of a currency collapsing is not what you want, because your fixed payments erode really quickly and everything skyrockets. They've already seen a large portion of that throughout the last 4 or 5 years with 40% increase. Prices of food gone up, and so if you're already retired living on a fixed income, you're feeling it. Well, one solution for that is we harden the dollar, right? And so if all of a sudden we start having stable coins and everybody's using stable coins that are backed by U.S. Treasuries, we now start hardening the dollar, because dollars can only be issued if they're backed by U.S. Treasuries. Right now, our current system is mostly built on real estate debt, right? It's a fractional reserve system. Money's created through the issuance of debt, and a large portion of that in the United States is from real estate. And so we have this leverage system. Well, if we go to a stablecoin economy, that kind of falls apart and goes away. That affects real estate in the long term, but it makes real estate more affordable, which solves the millennial problem, right? The Gen Z problem of housing is too expensive. Well, what we do is we no longer have housing prices based off of credit. It's actually then based off of real wages and based off of the stable coin. The fact that people can only buy with stablecoins. Bring some interesting things with like DAOs and stuff like that. And how do you finance a house if you can only pay for it through stablecoins, because now it's collateralized loans and other stuff. So maybe there's a debt pool that you borrow and you're part of and you pay into, and over time you buy down your house as other people are helping to facilitate that credit. It's in the article.
I agree. I agree that there is things like this that will help maybe stabilize things or balance.
I give it 15 years. I give it 15 years that we are on stablecoin. But
the other part still exists, right? The government can still print money. They can still issue debt.
They can still issue money. So there is that inflation. But here's the thing. Now the government has more control over it directly. Because right now the government can't control how many loans are out there produced that creates new money in the system. They can adjust interest rates to try to affect it to tamper down borrowing, but they can't actually control the supply of money. With this system, they would actually be able to control the supply of money by controlling how much in U.S. Treasuries is out there, and whether they want to.
What happens when these stable coin holders start doing what banks do? Like, and I don't mean individuals, but I mean banks that are holding stable coins. Just do what banks do and start recycling it and taking unlimited debt on the stable coins.
Because all debt has to be backed by U.S. Treasuries. All stablecoin debt has to be backed by U.S. Treasury.
Okay.
And so they can't just create it out of nothing.
So what I'm hearing is David wants to buy a bunch of horse stables, and we're going to back currency on the money those stables make.
No, it doesn't work like that. It's all U.S. Treasuries. The Genius Act is stable.
The payment for the stables and the horses staying at the stables would be U.S. paid, so it's U.S. backed.
That doesn't make. I don't know if that makes any sense.
He's making a joke with horse stables, dude. John, how's it going?
$dollars. I'm sorry, it's U.S. Treasuries. Other assets aren't included in the Genius Act.
How's it going? It's choppy for me. I don't know why I can't get this to work for me today. Can you see me?
It's going good.
We can see you, but you just froze. Oh wait, no. See, now you're moving.
I wanted to ask John a question, a series of questions, because they were going through my mind. I thought might be interested to him. Did you hear about ChatGPT's new app system where they're going to let anyone? Well, they already do it to an extent, but they're going to inject into conversations apps that have been built on their system and tell people you should use this. Does that threaten platforms? Like, I was going to be building an agent. You've already built a really cool freaking agent. Does that threaten platforms where someone could just build an agent and then ChatGPT could just recommend it in a chat?
I'm not sure if you can see me right now, but yes, of course it's a threat. It's a threat to everything that people are building. And if you're not building alongside these different LLMs and these different platforms, you're missing the boat. So I think that's something to consider, whether you're building an MCP server, whether you're building their tooling into your application. But I mean, no matter what, it's a disruption to your SaaS model. It's a disruption to your UX. And it all needs to be thought about right now. Everything's on the table, is my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, some things, I think some things are going to come down to user taste, is the best way I can put it. But, ChatGPT isn't perfect for everything. So I guess it's got to come down to what users want or what users will put up with.
Yeah, I think when you think about it, like we were just having this conversation, our team was just meeting. It's one thing to ask, what's going on with Bitcoin, and you get a response. It's another thing to ask what's going on with Bitcoin, and you get a real-time response that's baked with lots of different rich data and alongside very rich visuals and other things that can help you grasp what you're actually reading. So, for example, if I told you today, hey, Zuda, here's the top 10 meme coins today by social mentions. It's another thing to give you a list versus I'm going to give you an interactive tree map that's extremely rich. And when you click a tile, you can dive deeper, and then you can change that visualization to something else that lets you understand it in depth. So it's like, I think what we're seeing is like kind of the tip of the iceberg in terms of what you can get as a response. The other big thing is, do you know what to ask in the first place? You know, and I think that's harder than everything.
You know what I find, you know what I like about your MCP? I've played with it. The sentiment, where it can go through all social media really quick and figure out the sentiment towards a person, and if it's positive, negative, and why, all at once. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think what we're really trying to get to with that is like, well, what's the impact financially that individual's having on the market? And so,
Right.
Very difficult to do overall because there's so many other factors. But I mean, the more feeders of data that you've got, the more you're able to do that. And so that's something we're looking at in the background. And I mean, if you're using Claude, you can go and hook up 4 or 5 things, different servers, and you all of a sudden get very rich, different answers than you would have gotten before. So I think it's really chaining data together and making it, correlate and understand to create new answers. So pretty exciting.
Yeah, it is. Thanks, John. I appreciate
That's
it.
rad. And I don't know if you're a subscriber to Lunar Crush, you can get access to their alpha product, which allows you to just prompt and ask anything to their system, and it is really, really epic, and it's getting more and more robust. So everybody who's heard me in the past has heard me talk about like the Claude MCP server connection and stuff like that, which is really, really awesome. This is like another version of that, but directly embedded within Lunar Crush. It gives you even more data and interesting things. It's really, really cool.
Thanks a lot. And I can't wait till, I'll call it November, when we get our next release here. There's a lot of really cool things we're working on.
Coop, my favorite is 5.4. It's really good. Technically a small language model, not a large. If you want, but it's better than most large language models that are open source. Technically they're open weights. Don't get me into the nuance. But if you want a large, go with OpenAI has 2 models, a 20 billion and a do they have a 200 billion? I think they might have so yeah, or do they have a 70 and 20 billion? Check out theirs too. It's called GPT OSS, but I prefer 5.4.
Cool. We kind of got off the stablecoin topic that Rankin was talking about. So everyone should go to Rankin's LinkedIn and read the article that he posted about it. I think there's lots of debates to be had, but I think it makes a lot of sense what he's saying. We just need to. I don't know about holding lots.
And
of
there's
dollars.
other ones that are about there. There's other ones out there about the mortgage aspect of it too.
Yeah.
And there's one that might come out about VCs. And he talked along about it too.
Nice. Let's talk about yesterday's Bitcoin all-time high. What's John? What happened?
Man, I'm trying to just make my camera work over here.
You know what you guys should do? Every time it gets,
we can hear you perfectly, John.
I just can't see you guys. What happened? You might call it a little bit of short-term euphoria. It's interesting. We've been looking at like the community activity all year, and it's been basing and down back to 2023 levels. Bitcoin too, not just, you might be surprised looking at the headlines. The number of people talking about Bitcoin on social has gone nowhere until about a week ago.
Until a week ago, huh?
Until about a week ago. And straight up, all-time highs.
Yesterday. Do you have something to show? Okay, so let's.
Here, I can pull something up.
Google search.
It'll help. Let me share.
Yeah. Why don't you pull something up?
Yeah, let's do
I will.
Let me find that. Here, I'll share this.
It was exciting to see the 126,000, and now we're back at like 121. It's like, what the hell?
Man, you just had to expect it at this point.
I think Lunar Crush had a great tweet about that I caught on one of my alerts this morning that said Bitcoin trading at prices not seen in 36 hours. Or something like that. I'm paraphrasing. Follow Lunar Crush if you want.
A great opportunity, huh?
That's right.
I am trying to get this to work, and it is not working. I don't know what's happening. And I just got off with like 3 meetings, and they were all fine. So it's something about
Your
StreamYard.
computer's tired.
Well,
you know what? Your video
you
and your sound and look good now. So
I got something else we can share.
Okay,
real
there we
quick.
go.
I can always bring up Lunar Crush.
You got it?
Okay, yeah. Oh, share your video that you wanted to share.
Yeah, I will.
Oh,
but if
there we
he's
go.
got it, we'll let him do his thing.
So,
Go ahead,
here's Lunar Crush, which I'll just click Bitcoin,
Awesome.
and you kind of can see what's going on. And here's all of our metrics. But let me zoom out on Bitcoin here, and
Can we make that bigger?
yeah, I'll just go
yeah,
bigger
you
on
know
this.
what? I'll do.
So basically,
Yeah,
back
put
to the
us
other
on
view.
fire.
let me go
Oops.
all the way back.
Sorry,
And so if
hold on.
you look at all of
Yeah.
this, like
Oh, there we
we
go.
basically got a huge spike
Or
here, right? And so this is massive,
social.
and this is social mentions. And so the social mentions over the last little bit here, they just went crazy as of since September 28th. And so I mean, if you went back, you're like, all right, election, we were basing all in here, kind of some.
So maybe it's a government shutdown, huh? Maybe when the government shuts down, everybody buys Bitcoin.
I mean, they're talking about it, right? Like, what do we do now? And so, interesting to see that this just moved all the way up, and we've been here. So this still isn't that high.
That's crazy.
So just
No, it's not.
keep this into perspective. Like, I think we
Yeah.
get into the echo chamber, and we follow all this stuff, and we see everything going on, and this is like 300,000 non-spam mentions from actual humans. And so when you think about that, like, there's so much room to grow. And not to say that every person that owns Bitcoin goes and tweets every day, but it's really interesting to see what's happening this time.
That's right.
And pass this one up. It's also interesting to see. Let's just look at Ethereum. And let's look at Ethereum during the same time frame. And you see something different here. You see something different. We're still down here. We're still not way up. Even after Bitmine and SharpLink and Linea and all this stuff, all this news, and we're still not high. Let's look at maybe let's look a little different. Let's look at, say, Solana, which you'd also expect to be pretty
Oh
great.
no, we don't want to look at Solana.
Right? But you see something similar here. We're still
It's
not
still low.
crazy.
It's still low.
And I'm just picking them one by one. Let's look at XRP. We're still down here. So
That's crazy.
there's a pretty big difference going on right now. And I think
What the hell are people talking
What's that?
about? Taylor Swift? What are people talking about? Taylor Swift?
Totally. No, I
Like-
mean they're talking about this stuff. Gold, money, banks, markets, Lagarde. I love that.
Well, wait. Is it big based off of what's being talked about?
Yes.
Okay, so they are talking about Bitcoin. That's why Bitcoin's so big, right?
Of course. Yeah. But they're also talking about gold a lot as well. And this is probably part of central banks and reserves and the Deutsche Bank probably.
And
Interesting.
did you guys focus solely on financial words?
These are the top terms used in posts that contain Bitcoin.
Okay, because these aren't the top words altogether at the exact second. These are just words tied to Bitcoin. They're at the top. Okay.
This would be the last 24 hours out of all the posts that are about Bitcoin and the things that they're saying.
What about
Okay.
what about financial, but it's non-Bitcoin? What are people talk? If we take out Bitcoin out of the equation, what are people talking about financially?
Well, in terms of what? In terms of financial topics?
Yeah, in terms of
Or
financial
cryptocurrencies in general?
I would say more financial topics. I'm curious what the rest of the world. What the hell is the rest of the world talking about?
Well, I mean, it depends how you slice it. But if we looked at finance,
Right.
And we were looking at let's look at money.
Yeah, money's a good one.
And you'll come in here and
That's kind of a cool show. I like that.
talking about Trump and Japan and Durban, FYP, Van God family, liberty. Like, so, I mean, there's really a narrative here going on around like, how do I put it?
Stable coins aren't in there anywhere, huh?
What's that?
No stable mention of stable coins in there, huh?
No. And these are all the
So
posts
early.
that got actual
So early.
engagement. No, not seeing it.
Well,
Still
if you're
separate.
talking Rankin, you think that the mainstream average person is talking stable coins in their tweets about money. It's not
They're still
happening
blue.
yet. Still early.
But it's really interesting to see too that like also, you know, one of the sectors that was pretty big yesterday, like meme coins, for example. It's been a bit, and some of these meme coins are starting to shine a little bit here. You know, like Dogecoin. Dogecoin's another one that kind of stepped up. Let's look at their
Nice.
share. See, and you see this. So like
25 cents.
Dogecoin all of a sudden had a big spike to where 4.95% of all social activity, this was on the 5th, was about Dogecoin. Out of all,
And everybody's wondering,
currencies.
if Bitcoin's up, why is their Dogecoin not up yet?
I mean, again, this is a very similar pattern that we're seeing. Look, there's the last year of Dogecoin, which is socially driven. All of the meme coins are socially driven. Like they're socially driven, and then the price moves. We see it again and again and again. But it's like not there yet, not back. But Bitcoin is, in fact, all alone. So it's something that, you know, I think you could say that these other coins tend to trend on micro narratives and Bitcoin macro.
Bitcoin's been the only one that's had like another all-time high. Like Doge hasn't gone back to 60 cents. And so it's really kind of hard to want to talk about your loss.
It tests your patience for sure.
It does.
Yeah,
So I came across something fascinating this week that I'm going to share quick. And I thought, now this is an interesting narrative. This came from the ISIS Coffee Hour. Grant Stephan had
love it.
Robert Kiyosaki on.
What are your price target for something like Bitcoin, gold, silver?
I have no price target. I have an entry, and I don't sell. So like right now, to me, the biggest bargain is silver. So silver's about 40, 50 bucks.
Mm-hmm.
And Ethereum, I think, is very good right now. I stopped buying Bitcoin.
Why?
Too high.
I've seen so many predictions that Bitcoin's going to hit 1 million, 5 million. So if it's too high, why not sell?
I don't need the money.
Okay. So that was it. That was what I was sharing.
So he's holding, but it's too high to buy.
Too high to buy.
John, is Bitcoin too high to buy?
I mean, it depends on many factors.
When you bought in, right?
It depends on many factors.
Your time
right?
preference.
You know, like for example, if I asked you, are you $1 million in debt and have make $50,000 a year, but have $3 million of Bitcoin, should you maybe take some off the table? You know what I'm saying? Versus like,
wait.
What's your interest rate on that debt?
Good
hold
question.
on. Robert Kiyosaki has $1 billion in debt. He said it on the show.
This guy has a Ponzi to keep propped up. He can't sell.
I think that people don't understand the volatility of Bitcoin. Like he's talking about silver and like I think that a lot of investors make the mistake of thinking that Bitcoin's just another investment versus it being a base layer below their money. And I think what I mean by that is like he talks about it. Oh, it's too high. Well, that's a trader's perspective. That's not an investor's perspective. So I'm not even sure why he's saying that. If he's so rich, why even go there? Why do you care so much? Right. So, but I look at it like he mentioned silver being a really good buy. Okay, sure. Maybe it's undervalued. Maybe it's there for a trade and all of that. But what's going to happen if silver goes up? they're going to go find more, right? What happens if gold goes up? They're going to go find more. And when they find more, what does that do? It reduces the volatility because there's more supply for that demand, and it causes kind of unnatural sustainability in the price in a sense. Versus Bitcoin, people don't understand. I think they think fixed supply, so it only goes up. But I think also on the downside, it also causes natural volatility. And I think that's a big thing that people don't quite understand. And I guess if you're an investor, like you just, when it falls, you're supposed to buy more. And if you can't, maybe you're overinvested. And, keep your day job, have some dry powder at all times. Don't overinvest. And then I don't know. Yeah, I don't agree with him. And I don't think we're anywhere near a top. Doesn't mean it won't fall.
Yeah, I think the whole thing is silly. I think John actually had the best perspective, right? Like, you don't say Bitcoin is too high, especially if you're somebody like him, right? That's holding it, right? Because the guys straight up challenge that. They're like, well, if it's too high, why aren't you selling it? And
well, no, but okay, let me phrase it.
He's adding silver to his portfolio because he
combat.
thinks it's a good investment.
He's okay. I a man after my own heart. He only likes buying things when there's blood in the streets. He likes a good deal.
Yeah.
And he's just saying Bitcoin's not necessarily a great deal because why? Because he bought it significantly cheaper. I mean, come on. Most of us here were probably buying Bitcoin when it was 15,000.
That's the problem.
What you got
is now we're
now
like right now we're hurting inside, knowing that we could have bought more all along the way, and we should be using that as motivation to buy more now. But
everything you bought when it went up in price in Bitcoin terms the entire time you've been in Bitcoin. Everything.
That's true.
We went down in price.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, when it got more expensive, I know exactly. The $60,000 Tesla was $250,000 in Bitcoin terms.
Tell me that.
Sorry, man. You got to drive. You need a car though.
I need it. Yeah, but I should have bought a Nissan Versa.
You should have bought the stock.
I guess. True. I don't buy stocks.
But see, a stock is an investment. Bitcoin's not an investment.
Oh, wait. I shouldn't say that. I do not buy public stocks. All I do all day long is buy shares in companies.
Buy stock.
But I don't buy shares in public companies.
One thing that's really fascinating, and we've been seeing it lately, is like, you guys are OGs in this space. You've been in this through every swing, every cycle, every up and down. And back in the day, there was this like dreamy narrative of crypto is going to control Wall Street someday. And what's really fascinating is we keep seeing day after day, little blood in the street today, but most days we see that the top performing stocks are crypto related in some way. And that means like whether it's combined price and community performance, you start to see a lot of the traits like, we saw some meme stocks, a few years ago here, GameStop and things, but like you start to see how the crypto way of the community driving things drive stocks, and it really drives the crypto oriented stocks. And we're seeing like miners start to like trend higher. We're starting to see the Bitcoin treasuries, some of them trend higher. But it's really interesting to see like the convergence of these two markets together. Yeah. So the things that, I feel like I remember Alon, you on stage at LA Blockchain Summit talking about this a decade ago. And it's like, yep, we're here. We're here.
Can you believe that? Like, think about that. We're actually almost at a decade, because I think it was, 2016, we were doing our conferences, but they were still called crowdfunding. In 2017, we changed the name to Crypto Invest Summit. But the final crowdfunding summit was the funniest thing I had ever seen in my life. It was like the first, I think in 2017, I think we did two, because some years we did two. And in the spring, when it was still called Crowd Invest Summit, we had all these media companies that we would like give booths to at our conference. so that they could interview the sponsors and stuff like that, right? Like we're trying to create an industry out of like 500 people that were doing this, right? We were trying to make it. One of the guys joked in the crowdfunding space. He joked with me. He's like, "Man, if you look around, it would look like we almost have an industry." That was like that was his like backhanded compliment of our conference. But I remember that year, the beginning of 2017, the media companies only wanted to talk to the securities attorneys. And I remember talking to some of the securities attorneys and they're like, I've never been at a conference where the media companies wanted to talk to me. We are like the most boring people in the world. And all of a sudden the media companies want to talk to the lawyers. And it was all because of crypto. It was all, are these tokens, securities, is this illegal? What's going on here, right? And that was not that long ago. It was 8 years ago, 9 years ago, right? But I mean, it's a long time, but it's not long at all.
Yeah,
it's absolutely bonkers.
It's crazy. It's crazy to go and look at some of our. I mean, I'm in stocks, right? And then I go look at my crypto positions, and some of these stocks, I go, man, I feel like I'm heavy in this stock, or I have too much of this in my portfolio or something like that, right? And then I go look at like my positions in crypto, and it's like, no, percentage wise, I'm way heavier in the crypto position than I am in the stock. Probably irresponsible.
Because 10 years ago, or let's say not 10 years, because 8 years ago, you were 1% crypto, 99% stocks, and exactly what John just said happened, right? Your stocks are worth so much less in Bitcoin terms, right?
Okay.
And so it flipped.
Oh, I'm just talking about DeFi because like my DeFi is such a small part, but like the institutions haven't come in. I mean, like it's weird. It's weird looking at like, so let me go, like we have a lot of cryptos out there, right? Have like 1 billion supply, which is actually a hell of a lot when you go start looking at the stock market and how many shares companies have issued. A lot of companies have issued less than 1 billion. Usually a couple 100 million shares, maybe 200 million shares is a lot for us, a stock company. So when you start realizing this and you start looking at some of these cryptos and start comparing them in terms of, shares outstanding and market caps and all that, it's interesting to evaluate from that.
Well, people started doing that because of the psychological reasons, right? They saw that with like XRP and things like that in previous cycles where they went, there's this bias where people go, I can go and buy one tiny fraction of a Bitcoin with the money that I have available, or I could buy thousands of this thing. And it feels psychologically, especially to a new entrant that isn't thinking rationally, they're thinking just excitedness, right? They've got $500 to spend. They go like, what am I going to get? $500 worth of Bitcoin? That's 0.000 whatever. Like it feels like they're not buying anything. And it's a psychological thing. I look at it in
terms of percentages. I look at it in terms of what,
because you've been in the space long enough. You've been in the space long enough, and you're you, right? But the average friend of ours has less than $500 in their savings account. Can't buy 4 new tires if they go out, and we're not thinking that way, right? Think about the same day the government shut down, they shared the jobs information, the jobs numbers, and it's like worse than ever. Basically, like jobs are fucked, right? Like, and so for the average person, that's horrible news. But the stock market and Bitcoin went up. Why? Because neither of them are rooted in reality in terms of of everything.
Well, money will always have money.
Yeah.
Can I go somewhere wacky?
Yeah, let's do it.
Maybe.
Okay, so you're saying things get printed too much and you need something that's stable. Why not make a currency, cryptocurrency, based off the growth of something's hair? For example, I know if I've invested in my dog, he would print more hair so the value would keep going down or stay the same because he just got a haircut. And I know
I was going to shave today too.
And I know if I invested in Elon's hair in his head, he's not going to have the recession anytime soon.
This hair is going away, but this hair is getting thicker.
Well, you have enough hair that I would invest in it. But so that's something solid.
You should see my older brothers. It's going down over time. And then by the time I get to my dad, it's gone.
I wouldn't go for more
It's
than 5. I
deflationary.
wouldn't go 5 years. I'd go maybe 2 years. It could be a good investment if I was investing in hair follicle by hair follicle.
You know what, Zuda, if you did that, maybe I'd get more haircuts. I can send you my hair. You just send me the check. I will make sure to send you the hair.
I'm just
every couple
saying,
months.
this might
It
actually
will be, dude. Okay, this is so stupid, but this is awesome. Imagine, you know that like step counting app that people started doing to try and like earn tokens with their steps and stuff.
Yep.
Hairdressers start getting it's like proof of haircuts. The hairdressers start earning tokens. It's a whole industry thing.
I'm sure somebody needs the hair.
Yeah, I'm afraid this gets automated with AI though. Then it's just robots cutting hair.
The hair is used.
Robots cutting robot hair.
Yeah.
The hair is used to make wigs.
Floby versus Floby. The next robot
there is a hair industry. Oh, David, there is a hair industry for wigs.
The Floby token.
What token?
The Floby token. Remember that thing from Wayne's World that they made fun of, but in Rainsville, I think they called it the suck cut or something like that, where they're vacuuming the guy's hair. That was the Floby.
Okay.
My cousin
we should
had
make
one
something like that. We seriously should.
So along your point though of unit bias here is I keep having these conversations with people and it's proving a point where I'll never get to one. I'll never get to one Bitcoin. I mean, $125,000. Do you know how long it takes the average person to save $125,000, let alone the majority of people are actually in real debt?
Think about, well, it's the biggest problem with people wanting to buy a house. 20% of for a down payment is like, it's just the idea of it is so unattainable that it's like, we're not even going to try. So whole generations of people going like, how could I get 20% of, even in the cheapest homes in America, like a home, the average is like around 500K or something like that. That's crazy. To have $100,000 for down payment. What?
I have a number of people in my group who've come to me and been like, hey, I finally have a half a Bitcoin. Or hey, I finally bought a full Bitcoin. And it's because we've been talking about it for 4 or 5 years in a group, and these guys are just constantly, buying a little bit or over time, dollar cost averaging because, they believe in it. And so it's cool to see that when they come up there and they're excited that they've achieved what they have, so it's like awesome.
It's interesting because it's like Bitcoin's sort of, it's inarguable other than by people that truly don't understand it. But I mean, it's really interesting what's happening. I have a question for you guys, I guess, here. So like, let's just say we're in this world right now, Tom Lee. We're in kind of Tom Lee's world. He's the new Saylor. We'll call him the Michael Saylor of Ethereum.
Yeah.
And his narrative is that if the stock market, in fact, securities in general will be built on Ethereum, is his belief in his narrative. And there's other people that are arguing the same thing, saying Solana, the stock market will be built on Solana. And then there's others that are arguing things like Avalanche, things like Cardano. Where do you see all these playing together?
I think they're all correct and they're all wrong at the same time. Because I think it goes down to, what was that?
Because I had their hashgraph.
That's right. They're all wrong because it's actually going to be built on Tezos. No, but
Tezos.
Okay.
Oh, wait, not XRP?
Definitely not XRP.
This is really interesting though, right? Because this is our OG crypto social narrative of no, my coin's gonna win, and then now there's this super uber enterprise global financial narrative when it's like a battle now.
Coinbase.
I was on a call this week, and I was gonna get to a serious feeling that I have. I wasn't setting it up to make the joke, but you set me up to make the joke. Okay, go.
Real quick, it's all about where the stable coins settle.
Right. It's just they settle in the stable.
I think that we are going to live in a world that we already live in, and Blockchains will be an extension of that, right? Because we're now
Yeah,
on
you won't see it.
StreamYard. StreamYard is built on all sorts of technology. There's probably 20 different tools and programs that are there. I would bet that Rankin Zuda, you're probably on Windows devices or
Nope.
Linux, right?
Not my StreamYard.
John and I are probably on Macs, and we could be in different browsers, right? But probably all on a Chromium browser that's using HTML, that's using JavaScript, that's using literally like there's probably 20 programming languages altogether that are coming together for us to have this live stream, and it's going to people's devices. It could be streaming to a Samsung TV in the other room. It could be streaming to somebody's iPhone or Android phone or whatever, right? And I was on a call earlier yesterday, with very, very high up people at multiple different large legacy financial institutions that are adopting tokenized assets and tokenized technology in their stuff. One of them might even have their own blockchain. And if you think about those legacy institutions and you start talking to their upper management about the financial products and things like that, they do not give a shit about which blockchain it is settled on and which blockchain it is built on. They care about, can their transactions settle better than they do now in these things? And they're using terms like collateral mobility, right? And I've posted about this on LinkedIn a bunch of times with like what Onera is doing with FinP2P and basically creating an orchestration layer. If John tokenizes something on Avalanche and Zuda tokenizes something on Bitcoin or Stacks, right? Or and Rankin has a stable coin on Ethereum, John might want to buy that product from Zuda, but Zuda might want those stable coins as payment, and there has to be an orchestration layer that can conduct that transaction where John's assets are traded for those stable coins, and the stable coins are sent to Zuda, and Zuda's assets are sent to John, and John's assets are sent to Rankin, and there just needs to be an orchestration layer, right? And that's all they care about. And so if John has a product that's natively on one blockchain, or they're on, it was DTCC, which is a clearinghouse, right? That holds those stocks that John wants to sell for Zuda's assets, and DTCC decided Avalanche is the place for it to be, then that's where those assets will be. Just like I don't decide which law firm the original offering that I'm buying a share of stock was at, right? That company decided, and I don't really give a shit because a good investment is a good investment. Now, will it be like those technologies where there's probably 5 to 10 that are the most utilized for certain reasons, but they might not be utilized for the best, most pure reasons we might want to, because we might be freedom maximalists and we might wish it was all on Ethereum and Bitcoin. And somebody else might go, I need faster transactions and I need distribution, and I'm going to use the one that JP Morgan created because I don't give a shit about freedom. I give a shit about, security on my transactions. I mean, financial security, right? Not whatever. Everybody has the trade-offs that they have, right? And nobody at the early days of computers thought that Apple's software was better or more complicated in certain ways than a PC, but it worked, and it was simpler, and it worked for the average person better than a PC, or the design was better, or the hardware software combination was better, so they were willing to pay double the price for the product, right? All these different factors will factor in as the industry grows, and I don't know. I love what Tom Lee is doing, but we don't know for sure, right? There's a lot more public blockchain talk in the big financial markets than there was a few years ago. Everyone thought it was going to be on private blockchains, those types of securities, and they're adopting the public blockchains. And would anyone have thought a few years ago, like it would have blown all our minds, that the most profitable ETFs in the history of ETFs are the Bitcoin ETFs? So don't you think those financial institutions that are making record profits are looking for other products?
I think the important thing, though, to John's question is security and uptime. And, I don't know the last time that Solana has had a downtime, but I don't think they want to have a blockchain that goes down per se.
Well, but wait, to argue that a little bit, isn't it because they were majorly stress tested, because Pump Fund went absolutely ballistic and became the app of a new generation of people? And I would argue, where's that app on Ethereum? Like, that's the thing. Like, yes, you're right. But when Ethereum was,
we would do that on that. Well,
these went crazy.
We don't want garbage. We don't want garbage on Ethereum.
Well, but is that a test net? Is that a test net? Is that a stress test versus saying what it is? It's like,
right, yeah.
It's like
it's buying an NFT on Ethereum and having a gas price be $125 or something like that to buy that NFT. I think, right? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't work.
There are some of those issues, right? But there's ways around them, and there's all sorts of things. And I don't know if the volume and stuff that's going on right now. Yes, if things go down at the volumes they're at right now, those financial the people making the decisions might worry, right? But Amazon didn't become Amazon today overnight. Now they're powering literally like such a huge percentage of the internet. When it goes down, we all know about it, right? Like, Google Meet goes down, and all sorts of crazy things happen. But like
Twitter,
I don't know if that's. Say that again.
Remember the fail whale on Twitter that would come up all the time in the early days, but we still use it.
People got tattoos of the fail whale because it was such like a iconic thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's something also. I mean, like on the Ethereum front, the thing that's interested me a lot lately is Linea, where Linea, there's this thing with. Yeah. So let's go backwards. What's the narrative for XRP been since day one? We don't need Swift. We are the global payments settlement layer for all of the world. We don't need a Swift. We're XRP. This actually literally is counter to what you just said, Alon. How we use a browser that has all these things, and we're not going to change it. We're going to use the same everything, and what happens in the background doesn't matter. Well, okay, the whole world uses Swift now. They're going to Linea and doing experiments, at least for now. But let's say it's successful. So now here's XRP over there saying, no, we're better. We're crypto. We're crypto focused. You don't need that. They're the old guys. You need us.
Yeah,
that's happening now. So, and then
wait. Reminder though, what is Linea and L2 of?
Ethereum, and connected to the Ethereum Foundation and connected to MetaMask and funded very, very, very heavily. And so I'm interested that this can still happen in 2025, a whole new thing that didn't exist a few weeks ago.
And Swift is kind of this organization consortium of the banks and institutions and stuff. And it's a messaging system, right? It's basically a messaging system that goes, hey, John, I need the $200 million. And John goes, okay, you've got the $200 million. And it messages each other, and like then the money is transferred, however it's transferred. But it's basically like a receipts system. And it would not be hard to rebuild on the blockchain, but there's 20 million newer, more modern versions of it. But the thing is, XRP market cap already significantly higher than the enterprise value of Swift as a whole organization. None of it makes sense. Do they have even 10% of the volume that Swift does? Probably not, but they're worth more, right? And so that's part of the silliness of some of this industry. But all of these things are going to happen in different ways, because Rankin might want to settle in stablecoin, and that might happen over XRP's network, right? And Zuda might want to settle in dollars, and that might happen over Swift. And then again, there are going to be these orchestration layers, these APIs, these things that manage those transactions and have them happen in the meta, right? Like up above everything. And I think that when you start looking at the whole industry, right? John talked about Bitcoin being this base layer below everything before, right? But if you start thinking about all the assets in a stack, and then all the transfers of the assets, and again, it's kind of a little bit like, oh, I'm a US person, so I'm going to buy something in the dollar, and Rankin might buy it with a euro or whatever. But the more we have different types of assets, and the more people get used to using different types of assets, the more we start all acting like investment banks without any of the infrastructure problems, right? Like if John wanted to sell me $10 million worth of private shares of some company, we'd have to get lawyers involved. We'd have to get some proof that he has the shares. He's going to need proof that I have the money. There's going to be all these different things that happen, and it would take a month for that deal to happen, even if we agreed on the exact terms and details today, right? And it would cost us a bunch of money. That's not going to happen anymore. And by the way, if John goes, well, I don't want to buy it from somebody with dollars because I have some kind of risk of holding dollars, I want it in Bitcoin, does he have to now find a new buyer? That's an insane proposition. Or does he have to try to convince me, go buy $10 million worth of Bitcoin, then send me the Bitcoin for the assets? That overcomplicates it. But in this new world that we're all going to live in, you're going to be able to do like DeFi swap type of shit with any kind of asset that you have. And by the way, the bigger portion, the part that the banks are dying for, is you're going to be able to borrow against all of those assets. That unlocks it for the banks. That kind of counterbalances your problem earlier, Rankin. We're not going to be able to borrow against some of these things, but we're all going to have more assets to borrow against.
Well, yeah. Well, the problem is you have to have the assets to borrow. Otherwise, you don't have credit.
Can I go off topic?
Yeah, we got 5 minutes. Let's.
One of my posts got 215,000 views, 48,000, another 37,000, 36 this week.
That's crazy. Were you doing all the things you told Rankin he's supposed to be doing?
Yes.
So what were they about? What was the big...
One was about Claude saying something stupid, and the other ones, I have no idea what they're about. They're just,
Nothing
it's just
special?
nothing special.
I need to fix my Twitter feed. Yeah,
it's just super easy to make things go off.
John, Zuda did a whole audit of Rankin's Twitter game, and then he was using Lunar Crush to come up with some of the insights and stuff like that. And we realized Rankin follows way too many people and stuff, and it didn't have enough followers. So Zuda was telling everyone they have to follow Rankin.
I never said that.
It's still not working. Still not working.
So,
and it was a whole thing.
You still haven't removed the 2 hashtags from your bio, for one thing.
Oh yeah, you're following too many people relative to your followers. Oh yeah.
He's using the hashtag. You heard him earlier talk about how all of the things happening
there's this thing
are going to
called
help
list.
the boomers. So he's using hashtags so he could be considered a boomer, so he gets the extra love from the financial system.
There's this thing called
No more hashtags.
list that I didn't understand, and how to use list. Like I didn't understand lists, and now I need to start moving all these people I follow over to the list somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You got to cut your following, unfortunately, down to like 1,000 max.
Well, no, the rule actually in the
You don't
code
follow
says,
me.
in the code it says maximum 60% of the amount you have. If you read the code of the algorithm, it's public. You can follow up to 60%, which is insane. I always say 10%, but it says 60. So before they start penalizing you, you shouldn't do 60 because then that gets into a whole.
I thought that the whole point of Twitter was to follow people. What the hell? I mean,
you shouldn't do 60% because then you have a distribution issue because most of those people aren't going to view your stuff or share it and it's just going to die. But they'll let you do 60% before they start penalizing you.
Well,
I thought it was more important. I thought it was more important to read what John writes.
It's counterintuitive. It's the opposite of money. See, when Rankin was talking about money and Bitcoin before, he's like, I'm a percentage guy. I just want to know my percentages. But when it comes to Twitter, he just cares about numbers, right? And it should be actually. But the percentages affect what your numbers are, how many people your stuff is shown to, right?
Exactly.
I thought it was a news feed for getting content and learning shit, like not to like get people to follow me.
I follow
competition,
210 people total. That's it.
I follow
110?
9.
210.
210.
Or do I follow
Dang.
11 now? I think I follow 9. Let me double
There
check.
must be some really important people.
I follow 12.
Better
That's a
be
lot.
on that list.
I think everybody's important. Everybody's important out there. Everybody should have a chance.
John, I have a hard-hitting discussion we haven't hit since you've been on here.
Unfollow. Okay,
you
now
shook,
I follow.
You shook the
now I
social
follow
media
9.
world. You shook the social media world by changing your display name to Jonathan a few weeks back.
Yes.
And then I went to add you today to the live stream, and you're back to John. What's going on, man? Are you having identity crisis?
If you look at my profile pic too, we have some merch, and so I went full Lunar Crush in my profile pic. I've got Lunar Crush.
Just so you know, I might be the longest running person who's consistently had Lunar Crush in their profile picture from the longest time, because my bullish sticker that my kids are holding over my eyes, that's actually not me holding it. It was a picture my kids were taking of me. And because if you look at it closely, there's little tiny fingers on that sticker. My kids are holding the Lunar Crush bullish sticker over my face on my profile picture.
I like that picture.
It was like picture. My favorite one.
I like it. That's cool. That's cool. We gotta get
but
you
that's
some
the OG Lunar Crush logo right there.
We'll send you guys some new merch. We'll get that for you.
Boom. That's OG Lunar Crush logo right there. You got to go back. That's the original logo. Remember? Because before that, after that, it was a little more colorful.
Yeah.
And then it got to where we are today with that planet looking thing.
Amazing.
All right, guys, we're at our end times. I want everyone to give a plug. You know, we never even said today, if you are an early stage startup building in the space, go to the dgb.vc website and let us know what you're up to. If you're an early stage investor in the space or want to get involved in the community or investing in companies in the space, you could go there too. We'll share newsletters that tell you about this, and we'll tell you about what's happening with our portfolio companies, all that fun stuff. John, tell everyone where to go. lunarcrush.com. What else?
Yeah, head to lunarcrush.com. Follow us at lunarcrush. Sign up on lunarcrush.com we have a social analytics app that uses AI to an increasingly an incredible extent. You'll see in the coming weeks. We have our API. We have all sorts of quants and exchanges and developers, on and on and on, building all sorts of different social applications, and our MCP server that you can use within Claude, and increasingly many more things coming up. But yeah, pretty exciting.
Heck yeah. Zuda.
As Alon says, it's the end times, and he didn't say this part, but you should send all your assets and money and everything to me. I'm at Zuda's World at zuda.eth, so transfer on over. It's the end times, and that's that.
Not financial advice. All right, Rankin, what'd I forget? Follow Rankin. He needs to increase his percentages.
No, it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to follow me if you don't want to. But I try to give some good, thoughtful advice. None of it's advice, though. It's all my opinions.
You don't say that in your bio.
I'm going to throw this out. Brandon Colley. Brandon Colley, who's one of our OG community members, is organizing some events around LA. Go check the events that he is organizing. We got to get you on here to talk about it. Maybe next week. I'll
hit me up on LinkedIn and we can have you on.
Message Rankin on LinkedIn. I see LinkedIn alerts. I don't always check them, so message Rankin. But I'll jump into LinkedIn and give you my email address. Let's make it happen. All right, everyone. Have a really awesome day. exciting stuff. Thanks for
having me,
joining,
guys.
John. I'll text you and Joe a little later. I want to come hang out with you guys. I'll
Let's
talk to you
do it.
soon. All right. Peace, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, bye.